Hamza, welcome to the program. People think that this is show of power. Let's show him where the power lies. The manner in which he was picked up, for example, people thought it was needless. You invited a man to CID. He came, reported again the following day, just when he was leaving. Then, in what has become known as a Rambo style, you pick him up, and here, this is where we are. Very difficult, onerous bail conditions, many have said. Why couldn't we do this in a more, why couldn't we do this in a neater fashion, rather than doing all of this and having people talk and all of that?
Good morning to you, Salam, and of course, my senior in the studios, Honorable, and our cherished viewers out there. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I hope I get it back along the way.
You've been speaking so much on this matter.
You see, first of all, it is important to understand that whatever action EOCO seems to be taking is clearly in tandem with its mandate. Salam, it is important to avert your mind to the EOCO Act and the underlying objective of that particular act, which states clearly that one, it is to prevent and detect crime, and most importantly, do everything within the legal remits of this country to ensure that it generally retrieves the proceeds of crime. Now, under the same act, under Section 18, EOCO is given the police powers of arrest. What it simply means is that it can exercise the power to arrest without a warrant, like the police are permitted to do under our criminal code. We cannot sit here and determine the methodology to adopt, whether to go by a warrant or to arrest without a warrant for EOCO to go by, because they have been the ones carrying out those investigations. I am told for about 2 weeks now, they have been trailing him. What the CID did was not in any way connected to that of the EOCO investigations. Remember, not long ago, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources gave a directive for our contour mining licenses to be withdrawn, and also made recommendations that certain issues regarding illegal mining be referred to the police CID for onward action. So they are dealing with that aspect of Wuntumi's engagement or bluff with the law. EOCO is engaged in these investigations, like I indicated, for about 2-3 weeks now. Salam, the reality is that when it comes to the necessity, determining the necessity of the style of arrest, I think that we must give our state agencies that needed respect and appreciate that they know when to exercise the manner in which they want to exercise it when it comes to arrest. So for me, I do not think that this labeling of the arrest as Rambo style necessarily makes it Rambo style arrest. You know it is legal, because I'm yet to listen to any, if you like, commentary that seeks to suggest that there was a breach of the law as far as that style of arrest is concerned. We see it daily basis on our roads. People are picked up.
Yes, but Hamza, the point really is that did it have to be like that? There may be nothing wrong with that.
You see, but that is the point I'm making.
But did it have to be like that? You invited the person came.
CID invited the person.
Yes, and he came. Which meant that he was in the system and amenable to responding to invitations. Yeah. So what stopped the EOCO, for example, for also extending an invitation to him?
That is why I read.
There were other people involved, non-political people, and they were invited or picked up in a more, I won't call it civil, but in tidier circumstances, and they are cooperating, as far as we know. So the drama and all of that is what people are raising issues about, and it's a political figure. It's a politically exposed person. You will not rule out the fact that people may want to take political advantage of this from your side and from his side to make their case. And do we need that now? That's the question.
It is not about a question of needing it. It is about the question of how necessary that was to the investigations of EOCO. And that's why I had cause to read the second objective of EOCO, generally to retrieve the proceeds of crime, even in the process of investigations. So that is why I'm saying that we must give them that needed attention. And I appreciate that sometimes it may not just be to show political power or muscle. It could be in tandem with that overall objective of EOCO. Because in the process of the arrest, we are not privy to the kind of information that they had access to as officials of EOCO. And what possibly they even intended or were tracing to that stage of arrest.
At that material moment.
At that material. You are talking about cars today. And the fact that we have our international partners engaged in it. So that is why I'm saying that we are seated here. They are seized with the information and they know what they are going after and don't know when to effect an arrest that would put them in a position to even be able to adduce certain evidence later in the case as a result of that manner of arrest. So to the extent that the arrest cannot be deemed illegal, let us give them that respect and confidence when it comes to their operations. That is my first submission on the issue. But you see, I can understand the discomfort when it comes to the possibility of the fact that maybe people are pushing this because they want to show wound to me where power lies. Because like you indicated, many of our officials in the past were subjected to that by the same NPP party when they were in government. So they can be forgiven. If today in opposition, they think that we are operating using their, what do you call it, rule book when they were in power. But I can assure you that we are dealing with a president who is very sensitive when it comes to the laws of this country and especially to the mandate that he's been entrusted with. And you know that if there are any issues that seeks to suggest, even in the slightest, that our investigative bodies are trying to undermine the laws of this country, I'm pretty much convinced that His Excellency President Mahama would have intervened and directed certain actions to be taken in that regard to protect the gentleman's rights. Having said that, when it comes to the quantum of bail, I heard my senior say that in the case of Wuntumi, there was an Mweyomi, the 54 million that was placed on him was done by the court. Yeah. And so if it was done in the case of, what's his name, Wuntumi too, we should have gone to court. But Salom, for goodness sake, we are all lawyers around this table. We know that when it comes to bail, we have the police inquiry bail, and we have bail pending trial, and in another case, pending appeal. Now, when it comes to the police inquiry bail, at that stage, it has nothing to do with our courts. And if EOCO is empowered under its acts to exercise their police powers of arrest, what it simply means is that they are empowered when it comes to the police inquiry bill to also set or determine the bill available. When that is done, it is not out of the laws of the country because the criminal code itself constitutes an essential element of the laws of the Republic of Ghana. And so if EOCO sits as an entity of state created by an act and exercises such power to set bail conditions, like Prof. Ajay indicated, based on the quantum or how serious they consider the crime to be, and set their bond, the fact that it was not set by the High Court or the Circuit Court does not mean that it is illegal and it's something untoward and it should be condemned.
Nobody says it's illegal. It's onerous.
Yeah. It doesn't mean that
so
it should
I
be.
think the point
so
is that
the point I'm trying to make.
Basis for it. So if now we are saying it's onerous because we don't know the basis. Yeah. Prof threw some figure out there that from what he's been hearing is around 500 million. He doesn't know that it's dollars or cedis. So that reasoning, 50 million is reasonable. He is saying he has no such information. So the 50 million appears to have come from nowhere. What's the basis? Absolutely.
I can understand. I can share in his doubts when it comes to the amounts that have been thrown out. But the point I'm making, and that is for me, should be the focus. When it comes to the determination of the quantum, whether it is determined by the court or by EOCO, what I'm simply telling you that it is still legal. Yeah, and if you have any issues with the quantum involved, the law makes or creates an avenue for you to take advantage of, in this case, the High Court, for it to be reviewed. But you simply cannot say that if it is done by the High Court, like it was done under Wyoming, you wouldn't have had a problem. I'm simply telling you that even with the Wyoming case, Wyoming also had an opportunity to still apply against that bill that was set by the High Court.
Which he did, actually.
Which he did. So you are just fishing for excuses to be able to ply your political ambitions around the whole issue of Wontumi. It is not because you have an issue with the legalities that this government has adopted in dealing with the matter. You are simply searching for an opportunity to take advantage of to pursue your political ambitions.
I don't think that is
and
fair.
No, it's important. It's important.
What do you
You
mean by
see?
pursue political ambitions?
Oh, but
that is
Salom,
fair.
when we saw them at the BNI headquarters,
But
many
the
of these
fact
guys
that
are
they-
those gunning for positions
Which guys?
in the new
Afeni Marking?
the likes of John, what's his name? John Boyd, what's his name?
Patricia PJ. They are leaders. of
No,
the minority.
they are not the leaders. But you
Oh,
know
no,
them.
Patricia PJ
We are the
is
likes of their
the
general
leader.
secretary, who is seeking to be retained. Now we are told.
No, but
He
he's doing
wasn't
the
there.
work of a general secretary.
No, but
Whether
we
he's
all
seeking to
know.
be
They
retained
all
or
went
not.
there to show their face. They are going for re-election. They want to be
No, but they are
given
doing
that
the work.
opportunity
In the
to
meantime, they are
lead.
doing their
But you
work.
see, like Prof indicated, it was needless. The law, most of them are lawyers. They could have
So
taken advantage
are
of
you
the law.
saying that? So, for example, when Chachu was being tried, we saw the Free Chachu movement and all of that. Was that needless? I'm sure
It was not. Look at how organized the
At-
Free Church movement was.
at
Salom, you see,
Forsen's
you
case.
see
Even
that
after
makes
Forson's case, we saw the minority
the-
then.
absolutely
Working
the
out
minority
and
boycotted
abandoning or
parliament.
boycotting parliament
But we never
to support
besieged state institutions demanding
No,
the
this one was
release
the
because he
court.
was never arrested
No,
in
no,
the
this
first
one,
place.
this one was the court. So they left their
You
job
can
as
go
parliament
and
went
show
to the court.
solidarity.
But that's what they did.
No, but that was
because they
not
were
what
not
they did.
allowed
You heard
inside.
them.
No, they
Yes,
were not allowed
but
inside.
they said that they were coming to take their man out, and what we're doing was outside the laws of the country.
nobody
You didn't
said
hear Afenyo Marking.
No, they said they were there to solidarize.
We had gone there to meet officials of EOCO to have conversation.
Who did you speak to at EOCO before going there?
We don't need
That
to speak
we were
to
giving
any-
clearance
we had
to
gi-
come.
No, we had given indication
needed
to EOCO that we were
And
coming.
let me give you a classical
No,
example.
we had given
Kokwa Idoho was
indication
picked
to
up.
EOCO. Please,
Please.
Okay,
I
let-
allowed
let-
you to
let-
make
let's-
it.
let's-
When
let's-
Kokwa Idoho was picked up,
Let me give you a sheet of paper.
President Mahama,
I'm fine.
when Kokwa Idoho was picked up, we got in touch with the CID headquarters. We made arrangements before President Mahama left his house. And they told us the number of people who were supposed to come to the CID headquarters to engage with Kokwa Idoho. We did, silently. What all of you saw later that day was pictures of President Mahama with Kokwa Idoho at the NIB headquarters.
But in Koku's
But-
case, I think there was a match. as
Mas
well.
there have been
No, I'm
marches to
talking
the
about
CID
which
headquarters.
people
and-
march. Did you see NDC MPs?
I
You know,
think some people
as for
did.
the activities of party supporters, they can go and show solidarity.
So
But you
MPs
don't-
cannot.
Oh, Master, that kind of solidarity you guys went to do, you went to, you were intending to take charge of the processes to secure him. That's what you told us.
You finish.
In any case, let me go to
Okay,
the.
so
but you
yes.
see, Salom,
Let's
you see,
conclude from
we
there.
are missing the fundamental issue.
Which
The
is that
legalities
the
aside,
EOCO
what has to
didn't
do
act out of his
with the
its
danger,
mandate.
the conduct of the MPP poses, especially to our democracy, when it comes to issues of investigations concerning politically exposed persons. I have always argued that our political system, under the guise of democracy, has become so porous that all kinds of people take advantage of as a way of securing protection to continue to do acts that we consider unacceptable as far as our laws are concerned. And I can give you a litany of examples. We've seen it before. So we must be careful, especially the political class, to be willing to provide that level of protection when people have issues or questions to answer as far as their role in society is concerned. You see, Wontumi, investigations into the life of Wontumi didn't start today. You remember in 2010, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources then, the Honorable Suhuyini, had cause to go into the activities of Wontumi. I am also reliably informed that within that same period, the national security was already engaging with Interpol regarding his illegal activities or alleged illegal activities when it comes to this car, what do you call it, the car stealing syndicate that has been a border even for the United States of America, amongst many African countries. So he was a subject of interest. In the midst of that, when the state apparatus seemed to be closing in on him, we are told that he found it convenient then to simply go pick up a party card and subsequently contest for regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party. At that material moment, going after him would have simply meant going after an MPP person, that would have brought out the entire MPP machinery to support him get away with many of these wrongs. But my information also is that the national security didn't go to sleep. Even under His Excellency President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, remember, the Honorable Abu Jinapo had cause to issue a similar directive banning the activities of Akonto mining in the Tano Nimri forest. Largely because of questions around the personality Wontumi. Today, a new government has come into office, and in tandem with our commitment to probity and accountability, and the fact that people must be held to account, the national security has activated its investigations into the activities of Wontumi. But largely because our politics has become so porous for the likes of him to penetrate. Now, we are all now talking about the political exposed nature of that particular investigation to the detriment of the germane issues that as a responsible society, we should actually be looking at.
Exactly the point. So the national security, knowing all this you are saying, now knows that this guy has become a politically exposed person. And in order not to get the discussion or the matter degenerate, there ought to have been a better way of dealing with it. But let me